Hello, everyone. I thought I've been getting a lot of questions from you all about the authentic writing project, and I thought it'd be useful for me to do a video uh, thinking about that with you. I am thankful that a lot of you have turned in your case studies. Those of you who haven't, get to me soon about what we're going to do, figuring out turning in your work. I encourage you all to look at each other's case studies. I'm sorry that we didn't like share these with each other, but I thought it'd be easier to do it this way, that you could just on your own time look at these things. The next project, the final project for this class, is an authentic writing assignment. And so when I conceived this project, I thought that you've done a lot of research for your case study, and that it would make sense for you to have opinions about it, and then to put those opinions into an authentic writing piece. So what I'm thinking here is, like, how can you use writing to solve whatever your case is? So maybe it's a letter to a principal, or a letter to parents, or a letter to the school board, or maybe it's not bad, or a lesson plan, or some of these other kinds of ways. Anything you can think of to use writing for would be an appropriate authentic writing assignment. And I've had a lot of people concerned about the word count. I don't foresee, I've given this assignment in the past, it's not been a problem. I mean, the word count, you have all this research, so the authentic writing assignment itself should be about, the whole thing should be 1,200 words about. You can do something, so what I'm thinking is, typically it's like 800 words, the authentic writing piece, and then 200 to 400 words of the research explanation. And but you can do, I suppose that you could do 600 and 600 if that would be easier. But I just thought that I would, I think that it's not going to be possible to do what you need to do in the letter itself short of 800 words. What else do I want to say? If you have, so I have 2 due dates for this. So there's a due date, I think by the end of this week. If you get me a copy, there's a place to turn in Carmen for me commenting on drafts. If you get me a copy before that, I'll look at it compared to the rubric, and we'll let you know like what it is, and then you can turn it in the final position. If you get it to me beyond that point, I will look at it, I suppose, but I'm not going to judge it by the rubric. So if you get it to me by the end of this week, I can look at it and see if it fits the rubric. If you don't get it to me by then, I can tell you that you're like on the right direction. But I'm not going to have the time to like look at everyone's to make sure that it matches up the rubric so that you're getting all the points. Also, sorry, I took a pause to look this up, but the university has extended the ability to take an incomplete. And so if you're struggling getting all your work done for this class or any other classes, I can give you an incomplete, and you have then 10 weeks from the start of summer semester to complete your work and get that turned in to me, get a grade. Or alternatively, I suppose we're already past this date, but the April 17th was the pass no pass, so some of you maybe have done that. But right now, the opportunity available to you is that if you talk with me and that we decide that you can't get the work done, you can take an incomplete, and I can turn in an incomplete for the final grades. And then you'll have 10 weeks to complete the assignment, and I can go back in and change whatever work wasn't done. So that's that. I want to share real quick the prompts for the authentic writing project to kind of just talk through it. And hopefully I've added a little bit to it based on questions I've been getting. And hopefully that will help you think about this project. Okay, so I'm thinking of this authentic writing project as like a culmination of like what you've been doing. This is why it's the final project. And so I want you to be thinking about how all of the things that we've learned this semester can go into inform a given solution to a case. So the case can come from either your own research or any of the other cases that are on discussion posts, or it can be any of the cases that we did in Strike and Soltis or the Justice in Schools website. And so if you felt passionately about any of the cases that we did in class, and you feel like you have a strong case about one or a strong argument about one of them, that's okay too. So someone asked about additional research, and I encourage you to do additional research, although it's not required per se. That I want you to think about if you can find like interviews with different stakeholders. If you find interviews with different stakeholders that are in newspapers or like Education Week, or that maybe you know of a similar thing happening like in your home district, that you might reach out to like your past teachers, or if your parents teach. I've had in the past students talk to their parents about things, but it is a little bit dicey right now because everyone's like on lockdown. But I encourage you as much as you can to talk with real people in schools and schooling. And that might be hard. Everyone's stressed right now. So maybe all I'm saying is if you're close with someone and you know it's not a huge deal to them, that if you ask them these questions, you might want to do that. I asked that the letter like not just inform the person about the case, but it also offer a solution. So you should be advocating a specific position. And so a lot of you have asked like, well, can I take a point of view? And yes, like that's exactly what I'm asking to happen here, is that you take a point of view of one of the stakeholders. So you might take the point of view of a parent of a student to a teacher, or to the principal, or maybe you take the perspective of the teacher to the parents. So just think about the kind of stakeholder you want to represent, and then offer a solution that makes rational sense based on their position in the dilemma. And you need to give justification for it. So what's the research that says, so like if you're doing like sex education, like what does the research say about sex education? How does that justify your position? And then like the length, like I said, 1,200 words in length. I think that on the announcement, I kind of break it down that 800 for the authentic piece of writing, and then 200 to 400 words for the justification. But I think that probably it's going to be difficult to do everything that you need to do in the authentic piece of writing in less than 800 words. So I think that as you think about that, like kind of work through it. And then here, I wanted to talk a bit about the kind of like the different tasks that are needed in a letter. So if you're working on a letter to the school board for your case, for instance, that I think the 800 words comes really quickly. So there are, I list all these tasks that you need to do in that letter. You need to describe the case or dilemma, then describe different stakeholders' opinions on that case, including possibly teachers, students, parents, and administrators. You also need to describe a proposed solution and detail how that solution solves the case by describing it and how it can be instituted. Then you should think what stakeholders might be unhappy with about your solution and how you might include them in the process of instituting your solution. So you might be thinking about how to mitigate pushback against your proposed solution. So if there are any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them by email. Let me look real quick. Okay, so I just looked and I do have the authentic writing draft set for this Friday. So the 24th. So you might, that if you want me to look at your draft before you work on your final assignment, I need a draft by the 24th. And I'll try to work through those quickly. And I'll grade them against the rubric so you'll know exactly the grade you're gonna get if you turn to me that exact draft. If you miss that deadline, I'll still look at them, but I won't judge them against the rubric anymore. So so if you have specific questions, you can email me, but I'm worried about getting feedback to you all in time for you to get me that final assignment by the due date. So yeah, so if you have any questions, you can email me, you can text me. Some of you have texted me. I gave you my phone number. I am happy to do a Zoom. No one's taking me up on that, but I'm happy to do a Zoom with you. And I look forward to reading your cases and then reading your authentic writing pieces. And I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. And I know this is really stressful, really hard, and I know it's just really tough. And I am like amazed by all of you that you're still getting your work done. So if you have anything you want to talk about, reach out to me. And I hope you all have, this might be the last time I talk to you. But maybe there will be, I think this will be the last time I talk to you. So it's been a great semester, even though it's been crazy. And I wish you all the best of luck in the future. And if you ever need me, you have my contact information. And so I look forward to talking with you and supporting you in your studies. All right. Well, goodbye. Have a great day. Okay. So I have one additional thing I wanted to talk about, and that's the nature of this assignment. So the 800 words of the authentic writing assignment, I imagine to be very like creative writing-ish, that it should be based on research, but like you're not going to be citing research so much in the piece. So that all comes in like the explanation, the research back, and so you should be using components of like the ethics of care, consequentialism, non-consequentialism, and then all your research in the letter itself. But then in the 200 to 400 words of your explanation, that's where you really like cite like the reasons that you did certain things, why you worded things a certain way. And so I imagine you to make things up in the letter, so you can like think of a fictional case of like fictional conversations with colleagues, with parents, with students, and that can inform your letter. And then and then talk about your research about why that fiction is probable, why you chose to do the things you did. So I don't want you to think that like you have to limit yourself to just what your research is. You can kind of like go beyond your research a bit and start to think about if you imagine what this case was like in a real place, in a real time, what would it look like? And so if you think about like the Justice in Schools case studies, or even like the strike and Solstice, like those are fictional cases, but they're very like, they generate a lot of conversation. And so similarly, I want you to think about using research to think about real things that you might imagine could be said in situations like this. So I think that this assignment's a little bit different than the case study, because with the case study, I want you to root it in like real things. Some of you did that, which is fine. That you took took a real thing and kind of like extrapolated more about it to kind of like make it into a nice case like they have in Strike and Solstice. But this like letter, it doesn't have to be rooted so much in like a real world thing. It can be rooted just in your case, and you can kind of imagine different things about it. All right. So that's all I wanted to say. I think that's everything now. And I wish you the best of luck, and I hope, again, if you have any questions, email me, let me know. All right. All right.